We actually only want the feedback if it's positive. So if it's not positive. Well, welcome everybody. We'll just let folks take their last seat. Excellent. Well, welcome everybody to the DeLaval Knowledge Nook. We thank World Dairy Expo for such an environment and an awesome setup. We really enjoy doing these presentations. And today we're going to talk about optimizing dairy efficiency with artificial intelligence. Just give me a moment quick. Siri, please set a timer for 45 minutes. So, what is AI? We're not talking about artificial insemination, which I know a lot of you, all of you know a lot about. We're talking about artificial intelligence. But I would argue that before we dive into artificial intelligence, what it is and how we can use it in the dairy world, we need to understand what makes us human. Now, you came on a Thursday morning to a World Dairy Knowledge Nook not to discuss philosophical concerns about what makes us human, but I would argue that we need to understand what makes us human in order to understand artificial intelligence. And I believe what makes us human are 4 dimensions. Firstly, our heartbeat. It's our emotions. The fact that we can empathize, we can be compassionate, we can love. The second is our moral law or our moral compass. The fact that we can know right from wrong. Third, I would argue, is our cognitive ability. The ability to disseminate a large amount of data, learn, and interpret from that data, from our inputs, our learnings, potential outcomes. And then fourth, I would say, is our ability to communicate, our skills around language and sharing that information, reasoning. So what is AI? AI is simply the ability of machines or computers to determine and do and mimic human tasks, things that humans were designed for. Now machines and computers are able to do that. The genius of human intelligence and humankind is that with all of that cognitive ability, we've been able to determine and build machines that they too can discover, use large amounts of data, and infer potential decisions, and decide on an outcome, and also spot outliers. And then the ability to communicate using large language models. And then I would say, so the difference between us, humans, and AI is simply the moral law, knowing right from wrong, and our emotional abilities. But we're part of AI in our everyday life, from the devices that connect our smart homes to the virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa doing tasks for us, to motor vehicles today. I would argue that Uber and Lyft are not taxi companies. They're data, AI companies, informing decisions in our world. And then social media. The content that I am fed is far different to what you are fed, and you are fed. That is all the basis of artificial intelligence. And then what's become very popular recently is chat GPT, chatbots, large language models. And once upon a time when listening and watching the Transformers movies, we never thought that that would be a part of our future. That was science fiction. Never to happen in my lifetime. Chat GPT, chat generative, pre-trained transformers. And in agriculture, it's a part of your dairy farms. It's a part of our lives in agriculture. From precision planting, precision fertilization, weed detection, precision spraying, optimizing equipment that are on our farms. And then we will get to the way artificial intelligence shapes our cow and herd management. But before that, I just want to share a bit about how did we get here? How did we get to this place? What's the history of AI? Artificial intelligence is actually not a new concept and a new word. It was coined in the 1950s, decades ago, by a group of scientists that were curious about what machines, what computers could actually do with all this data that we're feeding them and the algorithms that humans could program and they could determine the outcome. And so this group of scientists started research on artificial intelligence, which then led many decades later to this concept of machine learning. What is machine learning? It's this idea that we can create algorithms within the computers. It is fed all this data that is just surrounding us and learn, discover, and decide on outcomes. Because of all these X, Y, and Z, this is the decision. Or to spot patterns in the data that leads to outliers. Machine learning. I'll give you a practical, really simplistic example. You're training your dog to play fetch. You're throwing the ball day in, day out. Your dog eventually learns fetch. You then throw a stick. It knows that's part of the fetch game. It's just not a ball, it's now a stick. It's learned. And then you get to deep learning, which is the science of AI today. This is like three-dimensional computing. It's how our brains work with neural networks, very complex layers of interpretation, analysis of that data. Deep learning. I give you another example. I referred to your dog playing fetch, being trained to fetch. Right now, you're thinking of your dog, your black dog named Fido. Some of you are thinking, well, I don't own a dog. I have a cat. I'm a cat person. That depth of thinking in a very simplistic model is deep learning. And then today, a lot of the terminology is around Gen AI, generative AI. And that's the ability of computers and machines to actually generate content from all the data that it's been fed. Music, new paragraphs, complete new books. Generative AI. So we've got this artificial intelligence at our fingertips at this very moment. Why is it? What's happened that we have this tremendous power at our fingertips? And I would say it's three things. The first is the rise of the internet or the cloud. There are over 5 billion unique users of the cloud or the internet as we speak, spending more than 6.5 hours on average on the internet every single day. The rise of mobile phones and devices. Since the 2000s, almost vertical increase. There are over 8 billion cell phone devices gathering data every day. And Cisco and the National Network of Communications estimates that there are over 50 billion unique devices outside of the mobiles connected to the internet and streaming data constantly. Over 50 billion. And then the rise of computing power, the third dimension, the powerful force behind the rise in AI. 5 billion users on the internet, the cloud, over 50 billion connected devices sharing data, 6 hours a day on average. And then you've got the rise of computing power that in every 6 months from now on doubles, allowing the machines to learn and compute, discover patterns in all of this tremendous data. So we've got this labeled data. This is a weed. This is your soil profile in your field. This was the application of fertilizer, pesticides that are used, and this was the resulting yield. You've got labeled data in abundance. So where does the cow fit in? Where are we with dairy? What DeLaval has been doing is creating our own AI, artificial models. And we have called that model DeLaval Deep Blue. But this is just the evolution of DeLaval's innovation journey, starting in 140 years ago, where we created the first commercial milking machine, the first rotary ever, the first robot that preg checks animals using progesterone. And that is a key. Because using that big data, the integrations and the cloud, and then real world technology that exists around us, like the infrastructure that's used with the NFL every Sunday. The players wearing devices that track their every movement and also predict their power, their next advanced move, and allowing analysis from TV, themselves as players and coaches, in order to improve. But taking that technology and adapting it to the dairy, the barn environment, using what's called ultra-wideband technology. This allows us to stream data of the cow and her behavior every 2.2 seconds into the cloud without compromising the battery life of that tag. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you DeLaval Plus Behavior Analysis, our answer to the progress of artificial intelligence. And what this system can do today, so far, is three-dimensional. Find cows in heat based on her behavior and learning her behavior, spotting outliers, finding sick animals, and locating those animals with which to work with. But you may be asking, well, so what? I've heard of these types of wearables or cow technologies. What makes this different? And that's why I gave you the background of AI. The difference is this system is trained and continues to be trained by the data that it gathers. DeLaval Deep Blue. And here's the kicker. It's trained by the gold standard in repro modeling, the hormone of repro, progesterone, because we are the only company that has progesterone measurement real time with a device called the Herd Navigator. So the power of the outcome is only as good as the input and the label of that data. And we have that labeling for DeLaval Deep Blue.
It's quite something that you have eyes on your hair 24/7.
It's looking behind the scenes and it can find some things quicker than we can.
If a cow's not feeling well, the graph on the computer will tell us maybe before we can see it.
It's a time saver for us. Right now we're running about a 38% fill rate. We're really happy with that.
Our cows are happy, then it's going to make us happy too.
And we like happy customers. So you don't want to hear from me. That was just a little bit of an intro on the tool and the history of AI and the power of AI that's just starting. There's so much potential here. But I want to ask two very special guests that we have here, two producers using this technology to optimize their dairies, to come on stage with me. We're going to interview and share a few things with them and ask them to explain the benefits that they see. So, first up, if I can have Mark Blaha from Thunderhill Jerseys. Give Mark a round of applause, please. You cracked on your microphone?
Yep.
Excellent. Take a seat there, Mark. And then, so Mark's from Wisconsin. And then we've got a guest from further north, Jan Kielstra from Canada. Give Jan a round of applause, please. And then Jan also goes by the handle Sask Dutch Kid. So you can follow him on YouTube. So let's get cracking. Mark, Thunderhill Registered Jerseys. Why don't you just give an overview of your dairy and your farm?
We milk about 250 jerseys, all registered. We also cash crop, and we run a large beef herd of spring and fall freshening cows. Most of it is done with some family and then some hired help.
Fantastic. Jan, at Kielstra Holsteins, why don't you just give us an overview of your farm and facility and family?
So we're located in Saskatchewan, Canada, and we milk about 350 purebred Holsteins.
Just pause there. Can you hear at the back?
No.
You cannot at all?
Hello?
That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay. We milk about 350 purebred Holsteins twice a day through our double 12 DeLaval parallel milking parlor. And we also raise all of our steers to finish. That's something unique about our dairy farm. And we do a bit of cash cropping. We do all of our own field work. And that's a bit about our dairy farm.
Fantastic. So, gentlemen, I'm just going to ask you a couple questions about the system. And let's get started first just talking about AI and things you've had on your farm. Like, do you have any precision technology on your farm today? We kick it off with you, Mark.
Yeah, we got GPS and everything on the tractors. We have John Deere op centers we use. Then we can send all them maps off to the sprayers and the spreaders when they do the fertilizer applications. So we use all that. And then we have an automatic calf feeder that does with the ear tags and that.
Fantastic. And this is not your first venture into like any kind of cow wearable. You had something before, right?
We had the GEA leg band system I put in years ago. And at that time it was a good system. It's just now it's been outdated, and this is a way better system.
Fantastic. Jan, is this your first foray into AI on your farm, precision technology, or do you have other tools?
Previously we had the DeLaval activity collars to monitor cow heat and health. And we saw this system come out, and it was just an upgrade, so we decided to go for this.
So what was it about this system that attracted you? What were you trying to improve on your farm?
Cow health detection was probably the main driver. Also, with the BA 300, it has location, which we saw as an opportunity to increase the efficiency of our operations. So,
excellent. And Mark, what was the reason you decided to upgrade your technology?
Some of it was for the conception rate, some of it was also herd health. And then I like the feature of the location on there, because when we're moving cows from different pens, I can, sit up in the office and, have my headset on, talk to the guys and tell them where the cow is, and they can get them moved to the next pen. But I mean, with the health part of it, that was a big part of it. Be able to catch the cows sooner, because I'm not there a lot. I'm either out with beef cattle or out with the cash cropping side. So I mean, I run in, check the office once a day, maybe twice, and then I'm gone again.
So explain, when we chatted on the phone, you had some interesting, perspective on the fact that you're not on the farm often. So just describe a little bit about how you...
Usually I show up in the morning, and then I can go up to the computer and I can look on the computer, and it'll tell me, which cows are sick or which ones need to be looked at or attention done to, and then I can, go evaluate them, and then I can leave again, and then at night I can come back again and check them again. So like I said, I'm not there a lot. I mean, I'm there, but a lot of times I'll be out in the fields, combining or planting or, things like that, or we'll be moving beef cattle from, different parts of the state back home or working cattle. So it allows me to be able to still be focused on the cattle and know what's going on, but not be hands-on.
Fantastic, fantastic. You used the word with me as like it gave you a herdsman.
Yep.
Totally gave you a herdsman. Jan, your experience. So you mentioned location. Describe how you use the system, how you work with that.
So the location aspect, we still run the double offsing program on our dairy farm, and just it's so easy. If you got a cow on the list, you just can't seem to find her. You just pull up your phone in real time. It's going to show you exactly where that cow is in the freestall barn. So it's such a handy tool to have on hand. And the other cool thing about the system, we just run that health index report through DeLaval, and that's been really accurate at spotting sick cows. So it's taking data, I believe, from the BA tags, but also our DeLaval parlor. It's doing a bunch of behind-the-scenes math. I guess that's what he's talking about today, that AI. It's doing a bunch of calculations, and it's just giving us a super accurate report on what cows are sick, what cows need attention. And
so how do you, so what Jan is talking about is the health module of the system. We call it Cow Health Index, using all sorts of streams of data to then predict and give an, direction on what to do. Can you just explain, so what's your morning process of getting to the dairy and using that report?
Yeah, so we get the report. It generates automatically twice a day, once in the morning milking and then again in the afternoon. And it just tells us what cows are sick. It gives them a score. I believe it's 1 to 10, 10 being worse. Mm-hmm. And then if you have a cow that's highlighted as red, she's most of the time needs attention. So just makes it super easy to find those down cows.
And is this, are you using the report? Is this something you print out for your staff? How do you, integrate that report?
Dad and I are using it. We're the ones that check it out. So.
Excellent. Yeah. Let's move on to like repro. So Mark, just talk about the before the system and then how you use it and the results that you have today.
Well, before we were at like a 39 conception rate, and we were doing some shot work at that point. Now we don't do any shot work anymore unless we're at the very end of our breeding season, because we don't freshen anything through the January, February. We don't freshen any cows. So if we get to the end of that, then we'll use some shot work if we have to, but otherwise, now we're at like a 42 or 43% conception rate just by going to it and no shots anymore, which has really helped.
What are your influences, the advisors on the farm, saying about the system? You've got really good results. Your vet and
the vet, he doesn't really see it much, but it does work nice when we do herd check, because if we got to go out in the free stalls and find a cow, we can pull it up on your phone and locate her. The breeder likes that fact that when he shows up at the farm, he pulls up the report, sees the cow in heat, pulls it up on the computer where the cow is, and walks right to the cow instead of having to chase around the freestall barns.
Fantastic. And then how do you use the health dimension of it to monitor sick animals?
Well, like Jan said, if cows come up red, you need to go look at them. And usually, if they're red, they need attention right now. If they're yellow, a lot of times if they freshen, because we'll pull them out of the dry cow shed and then they'll freshen, and usually then they'll maybe be yellow for a day or two, just until they get everything going. But then they'll take right off. But you can at least monitor them closer.
Fantastic. Jan, will you talk a little bit about your, before the BA system and the repro performance and KPIs, and then now since having it, the results?
Yeah, so we've talked about going away from the double offsing program. We still have not made that move yet. We're doing about 48% conception rate on that first service. So we think that's not something we need to move away from, but it's done really good in that second and third and fourth services when the cows need it. It's really accurate at finding those heats, and we're pretty consistently seeing a clear mucus breeding on those Holsteins, so that's good. And the other thing, it gives you like a 12-hour window, tells you exactly in that window when is the best time to breed that cow, and I feel like it's just really good at letting you know when it's the right time to go and breed that cow. So
fantastic. And then just to bring some lighthearted anecdotal stories here. So Jan is a YouTuber, Sask Dutch Kid. Follow him on his handles. But there's a fantastic video you did with your family when the system first got introduced on your farm. And your dad, it was like real time, like live. Your dad tagging the cows. And what happened?
Dad put the tag in backwards, so yeah.
Live to 200,000 viewers. But DeLaval thought that was epic and pretty funny. So that's excellent. Gentlemen, what would you say is the next step on your farm, in terms of your tools to aid your efficiency? We'll start with you, Jan.
Well, always step number one for us is pay down debt. But after that, for us, I think we're pretty satisfied in the barn now with this new ear tag. Just maintain the current management process in the barn. I would like a newer tractor, but can't convince Dad yet. So.
Fantastic. How about you, Mark? What's your the future look like for you?
Well, paying down debt, I don't know what for. We're never going to get out of debt. We farm for a living.
That's right.
But we're actually next spring, we're putting this BA system in our heifer shed to breed the heifers with now because it's working so well, and the milk cows, we're putting it over there now.
Excellent. So I want to put the questions to the audience, to the panel, but any last thoughts, anything to share on the system, repro, health, the location that you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I'll start with putting the tags in and assigning those ear tags to the cows is super convenient. It works really good. They have the wand, and it's got a phone on there, and you just scan the cow's ear tag, her ISO tag, and it brings up her profile in DeLaval, and then you can assign the ear tag with the wand to that cow and click it in. It's also just as easy to deactivate the tag from the cow. So deactivating tags works good, and then you can just move it over. The night before I came here, I was in the parlor taking tags out of cull cows and then right away assigning them to fresh cows that were in the parlor on the special needs pack. So it's all really user-friendly.
Excellent. You had a very good idea. Like we spoke about, this technology this is just the foundation, and it can absolutely improve and get better as it learns, and we add different pieces to it. You had some good ideas, like you shared the other night.
The lost tag report. So the DeLaval or the BA 300 system, it has location. And I was just bringing up the thought of maybe having a report where if this tag has not moved for 2 or 3 hours in the barn, it's got 0% activity or whatever, maybe there could be a report that shows, okay, hey, this tag hasn't been active, and this is exactly where it is in the barn, and that could be a tag that fell out of a cow's ear. And then the farmer could go and retrieve that tag versus sending it down the manure alley. So.
Fantastic. Yeah. Saving time and money. Mark, any thoughts you want to share, further input and information on the system?
I don't know, it's the best thing since sliced bread. You got to have it. I mean, it makes the job easier. I mean, it gives you the ability to do other things. Like my farm, we have cash crop, we have the beef cattle, we do all that. So, I mean, it gives me the ability to be able to still milk the cow, have the cows being milked and monitoring of them, but not have to be there all the time. And the tags are simple to put in. I mean, we'll run all the heifers to the squeeze chute, snap, assign the tags before we go out there, snap them all in, and we're done.
Fantastic.
And if the cows lose tags, because that happens on occasion, you just go up with that wand and you can tell exactly who it is. Because like when the milk tester was there the other day, I mean, she came in and there was a cow that had lost her tag, just went the wand and wanded it, found out who it was.
Excellent. Did anybody record that from DeLaval? It was as easy as sliced bread. That's epic quote. So from Mark Blaha. Any questions from the audience that you want to ask the producers? Yes.
So the question is,
It's not working?
okay, the question is regarding the reports. Can you set, it will give you a reason, like why is she on the list first? I know you said the colors red, yellow, blah, blah, blah. Can you select like how many cows you want in that report? Or, I don't know, just tell me about, and I don't know if it shows you like the reason, like she's here because of something related to partner issues or
It's a good question. So
activity or...
she's talking about the cow health index. Just share what it looks like. What are you looking at on the report?
Yeah, so my understanding, you can completely customize your report. So you can say, I want to know 5 cows, the worst 5 cows in my barn, the worst 10, the worst 15, whatever you want. And then it does give you, high conductivity, low milk yield, low rumination. It will tell you the reason for that score.
So it's collecting a lot of data from all the different DeLaval sensors and then computing what potentially may be the reason that she's a score 2 or 3 on that ranking.
And you can put it in without milk testing in the parlor because I don't have testing in the parlor. I don't have milk meters. So I get the same report. I just don't get the updated milk test every day like he probably gets.
Very flexible. Any other questions for the producers? Any thoughts from you, Richard? Yes.
So,
I don't think this is working.
oh, so what else would you like the system to do? Like, is there something on your wish list that it could just do this? Tell me this, tell me that. What else are you?
Yeah, for me, it's already been like eye-opening that the animal location works as good as it does. I didn't even know that was an option a year ago or 2 years ago or before I heard about it. So it's already exceeding expectations in my mind. I don't know what else you could add to it.
I know they've been working on adding it so it can come right to your cell phone instead of having to go to the office and look at the computer. They're working on getting it all sent to your cell phone, so I wouldn't even have to go to the office then. Just pull it off my phone and see what the cows are doing.
We do recommend going to the barn. Excellent. Yeah, the beauty of the system is that we're constantly evaluating performance and understanding future needs, and then adapting that to the future system. But it's all founded on data that we actually have today. We just need the systems to learn, find those patterns, and then find the outliers. There are a few questions here.
How long have you been using this system?
I put the system in last November. So
I put mine in March.
There was a second question.
See, you have a big jump in pregnancy rate. What was the reason? Did you get the cows early before, or did not find the cows in heat? Or what do you think was the main reasons to increase your pregnancy rate?
I don't know if the leg bands were always working the way they were supposed to. So I'm not really sure. Like I said, before that you had to give a lot of shots. And the leg bands weren't always catching the cows, I don't think, because it was older technology. So once we got rid of them and put this in there, we seen the jump, which was really nice.
You got a positive repro result. What do you put it down to? Yeah.
just the system's accuracy in detecting those heats. Like I said, a lot of the time you'll go out, you'll breed that cow, there'll be clear mucus, and that's, to me, all the indication I need about the system's ability to find those cows in heat. So.
Great questions.
Quick question about increase in reproduction management efficiencies. What would be the best heat ratio?
Certainly, we will take that. So the question was, what's the maximum we can have with this system? It's a very difficult question to answer. We have measured this against, firstly, previous technologies that we had, wearable technologies, but then we're also training this model with the gold standard of heat detection and repro, which is progesterone. So as the model learns and gets better, so the results get better. So, I mean, today it's upwards of 80, 90% heat detection. Fantastic. Yes. Great question. Do you know the reason why it comes up, as a sick cow, must check, green, yellow, red?
No?
So that's the beauty of the system. That's the power of this black box, this deep learning algorithms. It's programmed based on physical detection. This is a sick cow. These are the reasons why she's sick. And then the system learns and then predicts based on outliers and all information fed to it. So it's algorithms within the computer that determine those values. No. The questions? So, well then we wrap it there. We are against the clock, but I just want to thank Mark and Jan. We really appreciate you being here with us, sharing your knowledge, being away from the farm. But lucky Mark, you've got the BA system, so you can be away from the farm.
No, we should be combining right now. Soybean harvest.
Absolutely. So we appreciate it. Follow Jan on social media. A great content contributor there, so we love it. So thank you very much, gentlemen. We really appreciate you and all that you do for the industry. Can we give them a round of applause?
There's another question
Oh,
right
there's
there.
another question.
So with this system, you have to use the herd navigator.
Yeah, excellent question. The system was trained on test farms by the herd navigator system, and now that system has learned. You do not need to have the herd navigator in conjunction with the DA system in order to get the results that these gentlemen have, because they do not have the herd navigator. It doesn't mean that you can't have them in combination. So the ultimate in heat detection and preg check and progesterone, and then the timing of the insemination window with the DA system. You don't need them before. Great question.
So is there like a daily fee or a monthly fee? How does that work?
Yeah, excellent question. Come and see me afterwards and we'll...
I can get a rebate?
Totally. So there is no monthly daily fee for this system. Excellent. Good stuff. We appreciate you all coming to visit and listen to us. Thank you all very much.